What's up? Welcome to the Tedeschi Trucks podcast. This is episode number 55, and I am Adam Choi. To follow this show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram, and I'm at Adam Choi on Instagram as well, and Twitter if you want to follow me. And of course, I have no affiliation with the band. This is not an official podcast for TTB or anything. I am just a fan, and if you are checking out this podcast, I'm guessing that you might be as well. So please be sure to subscribe to the show and give the show a positive review on iTunes. Doing those things is helpful for sure. But these days with TTB not on the road, although they're getting back on the road soon, currently they are raising money to help their crew and the band, and they've set up a fundraiser. That's at givebutter.com/TTB. And there are lots of auctions and raffles and things going on as fans and others are trying to pitch in and do their part and do our part. But to follow those raffles and auctions, please join the private Facebook group Tedeschi Trucks Band Fans or Tedeschi Trucks Band Family and Friends, or both. And again, givebutter.com/TTB to support the band and crew directly. But for today's episode, I'm joined by Long Island's own and one of our Give Butter raffle and auction organizers, the inspirational Lauri Lane. With Uncle Freddie as her music mentor, Lauri grew up always loving music, and especially the Allman Brothers. She has been to countless amount of concerts in her life, including hundreds of TTB shows. But it's hard to quantify just how much music means to Lauri. Her daughter Jessica, who was born with autism, was actually named after the Allman Brothers song. And we get into really how much music has helped Lauri's family and really this whole world, to be frank. But let's just get into it. Here's Lauri Lane. So it's good to see you today. Lauri Lane, thank you for joining me on the Zoom here.
Glad to be here.
How are you holding up during whatever year it is now?
It is 2021, and
so.
I just got back from 3 shows of Government Mule. So we are moving in a positive direction, which makes me happy. I haven't seen Government Mule since, oh goodness, New Year's Eve of probably 2019, which is a long haul for Government Mule because they tour a lot and they love the New York area, and I get to see them at least 4 or 5 times a year. And nothing, that the whole shutdown, everything was hard. My last show was supposed to be the Love Rock show, which Derek and Susan played at, but they shut the audience out of it. We were on our way there and they said, no more shows. Yeah. So that was a little bit heartbreaking because Susan and Derek sang with Jackson Brown, and it was really great.
Was that on TV? Was that on television? Where were that kind of rings a bell.
Streamed it. They streamed it when they found out there was going to be no audience.
Right.
And again, a big charity event like Love Rocks, they haven't even done anything this year. And they used that concert for years. I think they were on their 5th, and that it helps a lot of people. It delivers food to people who are in need of food. So it's a great charity. And that was the last show that Derek and Susan played at before the shutdown. So That was sad. But I did get to see them 3 nights in a row at the Ryman.
Those were the last 3 shows. I listened to those a lot.
And I was at those.
That's great.
And the girl I was with caught Derek's slide.
There you go.
She's thrilled. I have pictures of Katie Brown with this slide, and she stole it from Dave, who Derek threw it to, but her arms were longer. That's the way it goes.
Intercepted.
She intercepted it, and now it's hers.
Yeah, and you were telling me before we started recording that a little bit about the Warren or the Government Mule shows you just saw that you enjoyed, and also that you were kind of scouting. I'm saying these words, but that you were scouting a future venue for TTB. So tell me a little about the mule shows and whatnot.
There. The TTB just announced 2 shows there. I believe July 6th and 7th of this July. They have a show that they sold out that was supposed to happen before the shutdown. So they're revisiting the venue with a different format. which is
Yeah.
good because now they have pods and, the pod. I just went through a pod show. Everyone's afraid of the pods. I went through 3 nights of Government Mule with pods and it was fantastic. They have four seats together. I knew all 4 people in my pod. I had my doctor friend come from Chicago, my friend from Connecticut, my husband and I. We all 4 of us shared a pod for 3 nights. It was great. We had a great time and it was music for our ass, just like Government Mule is. And it was just fabulous. So TTB's tickets are going to go on sale tomorrow. They're pre-sale. So I'm getting, like, as we're talking, I'm getting a million text messages. Who's doing what? Who's getting what day? What day are you doing? Do you have the code? Did you renew your membership to the swamp? And everyone's like,
Yeah.
And then you always have that one that hasn't renewed yet. And we're all yelling at her. Could you just renew your membership so you could get the code? So right now we're in ticket buy, as my children call me, crazy ticket lady buying syndrome.
It's stressful. Isn't it stressful?
It is completely stressful. And TTB just did a pre-sale for Lafayette near Syracuse. And because my son is in college and now he's a stay-at-home son because of what's going on. So I made him help me buy concert tickets. And he bought 2 pods for me by accident.
That's good. Yeah.
So here I am selling a pod and I'm getting yelled at on the fan groups because they're saying, why did you buy 2 pods? And I'm like, it's none of your business why I bought 2 pods. I'm offering a pod hassle-free. Just buy the damn pod for me so I don't have to tell my husband I own too many tickets again.
Yeah.
Which is my other problem in life. I always wind up finding better seats and buying more and reselling, but I only will resell to another fan.
That's good. That's great, actually.
I don't scalp ever. I always resell. I have to keep my reputation good out there.
For who?
I don't care, but
for yourself,
for reselling, for my soul.
Yeah, no.
Think that there's
it's
no
the right
point
thing
in
to
making
do.
money.
No,
right.
There's plenty of other ways that you can make money that serve people better.
Exactly. Well, that's what I mainly do. That's how I got involved with the Give Butter. I was a fundraiser for a charity for years. I worked for this charity, and that's why I got involved with Give Butter, because I saw the way they were doing some items, and I'm like, I think we need to be able to make a little more money. So I kind of answered on their messages, and then they messaged me like, hey, you want to help? And I'm like, sure, I have nothing to do right now.
So
sure.
Organic and grassrootsy. And I think Ian Gibbs talked about how everyone is bringing their own skill set and skills and knowledge and experience to the table and doing a good job. And,
all of them, they're all
letting other people do what letting other people do what they bring to the, you know what I mean? There's a good balance. It seems like, at least from what I see and of experience.
Absolutely. I brought a suggestion to them and they thought about it and they said, how can we do this? How do we make this feasible? We did it first with the necklace that you called off the winner for that. Not the butterfly necklace. It was Susan and Derek's.
There's the leaf
strings. I believe so.
And the guitar strings, a leaf and the feather and the guitar strings.
Yes. And you called out the winner for that. And that was great. And that was exciting. And last week, I was at the mule shows when you called the Linda Wolf poster, right? The photo.
Right.
I missed it. But I guess I didn't win it because
it was not you. It was not you.
Damn, I wanted that.
Well, enter future things.
Of course, yes. But, that's why I wanted you to call it, because if I wanted to enter it and I'm running it, it looks a little,
right.
You have to keep it pure. Always have to keep it pure.
Because I didn't call the I don't think I did the Allman Brothers. I think the Allman Brothers check. But I bid on that one. So it's all working out in that way.
I didn't bid on that. And funny thing, my daughter Jessica, who is named after an Allman Brothers song, picked the winner. Yeah. I had her pick it. So that was great. She enjoyed helping me.
Yeah, if you enter, someone else has to has to do the drawing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just feels strange. But at the same time, it's good for me and you and others who are organizing also to participate because it's all going to
Well, because
the right place.
Right. It's going to the right place and it's something we're interested in. So you have to step back a little bit. And that's when Tammy stepped in and helped out, which was great. She took over that, ran the numbers to you and in all that Cali traffic.
It's a machine. We're a well-oiled machine. But why don't we get into your life and your musical journey a little bit and tell me what, just a little bit of background, whatever you want to share about where you grew up and the music, where you grew up and your family, maybe a little bit tidbits about your family life and your musical early musical influences and beyond.
Music started very early for me. My uncle went to Woodstock. So there was always great music in my life. He's my mentor, Uncle Freddie. Hi. He was my mentor with music. As a kid, you don't realize what you're doing. I stole a 45 from him and Elvin Bishop, Fooled Around and Fell in Love. I stole it from him. And, when I was at my grandmother's house, I swiped it and brought it home with me. And I must have listened to it a million times, and then he started making tapes for me. He had a reel-to-reel setup. I mean, he was hardcore with music. He was the type of person that had his albums in alphabetical order. So you would go to his house, thumb through, and then he would just pick out what you want to hear.
He's a buff with a library. He's a buff with a library.
Yes. And it was just so great. And I think the earliest I remember the Who and Clapton and all that stuff. And then, it just keeps progressing. And then it was Black Sabbath. I went through a really good Black Sabbath stage. I mean, I love Ozzy, love Black Sabbath. And that's how I got to Mule, because Mule covers Sabbath a lot. And huge Allman Brother fan, always was. Love the whole dynamic. Dickie is just I don't know. I love his storytelling, his melodic playing. I feel like when you're listening to a song like Blue Sky, you're on a wave. You're chill on a wave, and it just takes you through. So it was the Allman Brothers Band, and I wound up naming my daughter Jessica after a song with no words. And it turns out she has autism and doesn't really talk. So how's that for irony? The song was just always so happy to me. Whenever I listen to that song, I'm happy. So if it was a girl, it would be Jessica. If it was a boy, it would be Kyle, because I took the letters from Blue Sky and rearranged them.
Wow.
The word Kyle. Right. Hardcore, right?
You were around this time, you were probably in a hardcore Allman Brothers phase.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it could have been Ozzy and something else.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't fly. But yes, the Allman Brothers were, I think it was right after Seven Turns. They started touring again. They started taking up the Beacon. They played a little bit at Radio City, a year at Radio City, but it was the Beacon. And so like I said about being available, the Allman Brothers seem to love the New York area. They played Jones Beach every year in August, which is for my birthday. So we'd call it my birthday show. And they played March for the whole month of March there. And, as I found out my daughter had autism, I relied on music more and more to help me through my, it's just like this Tedeschi Truck song. It's so heavy. It was very heavy what I went through, but I used music to get me through.
Yeah, and that's a real thing. That's it works. It's healing. It's medicine. It's in sound form, and it can be in visual form also. But it works on the body and minds of people and produces positive results. I mean,
and
I don't know what else to say.
I know. I knew if I started drinking, I would never stop. So that was music was my way out. It's something that you could listen to when you're in your car alone. Like even in my saddest days, leaving meetings when they would tell you bad news, like, she's not progressing as much as as I had hoped she would be. And you just listen to music on the way there and music on the way back. And then there are some songs that you always relate to at that time. And then you cry, like
Right.
Seven Turns by the Allman Brothers, Seven Turns on the Highway, Seven Rivers to Cross. Somebody's calling your name. Somebody's waiting for you. Like, I totally relate that to me trying to find my daughter. And, I still listen to that song and I think of her and the journey. And then Dickie wrote Everybody's Got a Mountain to Climb, which there she was going on her mountain journey, and, us trying to reel her in. Autism is like this world that you have to drag them out of that world that they're in and want them to be part of the everyday life. For her having autism, she's very social, and her favorite thing to do is to go to a concert. We've taken her to see Bob Seger. She's seen the Stones more times than anybody. And and her mask throughout all of COVID is a Rolling Stones tongue. And people just laugh when they see her. They're like, her mask. And I'm like, she's a big fan of the Stones, so.
Me too.
So music is just, and it's every part of our family. Like my husband with my sons, they go the Primus route. Red Hot Chili Peppers are a huge family favorite. No one ever turns off the Peppers, which you heard today, right? They sold their catalog for a ginormous amount of money today.
A lot of bands and artists seem to be doing that lately.
Well, I used to think it was a sellout, but when you get as old as they are, you need a money. As we saw with this industry, you need a money revenue. You need a stream of money. So if they sold it for, I think they were $148 million today. So they all get a nice little chunk of change, right?
People still can listen to the music and they don't say like, oh, did you guys know that this is owned by Sony? Blah, 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 blah. That's not really what people are thinking. They're just thinking, oh, those dudes are awesome musicians. And,
right.
Anthony Kiedis.
Even those songs are timeless.
Right.
I mean, and then you can connect it to Tedeschi Trucks because they both cover Sly. I mean, it's all great.
Yeah,
they cover If You Want Me to Stay. And then Tedeschi always covers Sly. So they could all sit in a room together.
Maybe we'll see that at some point. Did you ever when you were growing up, play instruments or sing or anything like that?
Well, funny story. When you have to take a music test in our school district in order to be able to get an instrument. So when I was taking my music test.
Where was this again?
When?
No, where did you grow up?
Again? I grew up on Long Island.
Yeah, me too.
So, you did?
Yeah.
Really? That's funny. I grew up in Holbrook. So I was with the music teacher I had to take, you have to listen to notes and then you had to match it with another song, and she would make you match the notes and do that. And she said that I got a perfect score. And I was like, wow, that's okay. So then I picked the clarinet because I didn't know what else to do. And I got the clarinet and I learned how to play clarinet, and that's about it. And it was only 1 year and I hated it. And there we are.
Yeah.
I hated it. I always had a broken reed. I was always getting in trouble for my reed being broken. And then I just gave it up because I couldn't deal with it. But I still love music though. I wish I would have taken, like a string instrument at this. If I could do it again, I would have taken a string instrument.
Why can't you do it now? You don't want to. I think you're content to be a fan and the crazy ticket lady.
Right. You know what? At my age, at this point now, I'm 52 years old. What am I going to do here? I'm like,
learn a few chords and learn to sing a little bit. You have it sounds like you actually have some musical, I'm sure, inclinations. It sounds like.
Right. Well, the funny
someone
thing
should just buy a guitar and just put it in the house. You're not going to be. You need to be nudged.
I bought my daughter an acoustic guitar for Christmas, and it sits in her room, and we strum it once in a while. But no interest. I like makers and buyers. I'll buy what you make. I like to the music.
I gotcha.
But the funny thing about that, when we go to shows, my friends always laugh at me because as soon as they pick up a guitar and start tuning it, you know how like they play a few chords, I'm like, I can tell them what song they're going to play.
Well, you're like me, or you can narrow it down to like 2 or 3.
And then they're like, and then they did it to me the other night. They're like, what song is next? And Warren picks up his guitar, strums it. And then I said, and I told them the name of the song, and then they're like, yeah, whatever. And then he starts playing it like 5 minutes later, and they're like, how did you know that? I'm like, it's just a thing with me. I know that. But when they change they're starting to change their intro, so I get confused for a second now, and then I'm like, oh wait, no, I got it.
Yeah. Do you listen to a lot of live music on like archive.org or like those types? It sounds like how do you know you just go to a lot of shows? Is that what it is? Like,
yeah, I really don't listen to live music. Once it's done for me.
Yeah.
I'm of that. I think it's part of my personality. Like once I'm done with you, you're dead to me.
Oh boy.
You know? Right. So it's rare that I buy a live show, but I do like that Government Mule has that option that you can buy their live shows. Because then you can still support the band.
Yeah.
And
no doubt.
Like the fireside sessions, I'm really interested in keeping those because they were magical.
They were. Weren't they? That's the right word.
They were magical. It was just, the whole thing was magical. I looked forward to every Thursday night sitting there with my husband on the couch. We had a few drinks, you know, and then we sit there and watch the shows, and he's just like, wow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, because I'm loving it. And my girlfriend's husband had passed away from the virus. And so
I'm sorry to hear that.
I know it was devastating. And so I spent a few nights at her house with her listening to the shows to keep her company and stuff. And, you know, it's good. And then they get to a song that's emotional. See, songs are so emotional, and you remember I said sometimes you have really good memory with it, and sometimes, you know, now it's becoming like, you know, a thing where
they help you it helps you process your emotions, but that music does that and get them out. If you're because sometimes we're human and we don't know how to express them, we don't know how to handle them, deal with them, but music will just get it out. Those feelings out.
It was good because, you know, sometimes there becomes that awkwardness when something really bad happens to someone and you want to stay in touch with them. So I kind of invited myself over to her house to watch them. We watched them together, and it was a good way to be close with her and just be there for her. And she didn't have to do anything but sit there and listen to music. And I picked the TTB because that was like we started going to TTB shows together. As soon as Revelator came out, they played, I think, at a college where I can't remember, CW Post, I believe they played in CW Post.
I'm familiar.
Auditorium.
Yep.
Right. And we went there to see them. Right. It was even before Revelator came out, and we were like, wow, you know, you love Derek, you love Susan, but them together is just wow. And I'm very glad they did what they did. You know, the you know, Revelator, Don't Let Me Slide, you know, you're like, it's just the songs, you know, the reflections that you can make from a song from there, you know, even that their song Simple Things from that. I just always think of my daughter and the struggles she goes through, and just her learning to use the microwave is such a simple thing that makes everything great, because she gives herself more.
Oh boy.
It's just a simple thing. Now she's like, you know, beep, 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 beep on the microwave, where never thought that would happen. Now she's making chocolate chip cookies in the toaster as we speak. My husband's watching her, but she's, you know, I hate to be so direct, but I pretty much feel like I've been preparing her for my death since I found out she had autism. Like, I'm trying to make her as independent as possible, so when I'm no longer here, she doesn't need to depend on people for everything.
Right.
And so then going through music, and it's like such a healing thing for all of us in our family, because when she's in a bad mood, like due to the pandemic, we can't have transportation for her right now. So if we want her to go to her program, we have to drive her and pick her up, which of course we're parents, we're going to do that. And my boys, my older son is 28, my other youngest son is 22. They take turns and they help us drive her. And they can tell, like, when they get her in the car, if she's in a pissy mood, they have a playlist for her. And they hit Jessica's playlist, and they're all songs that she loves.
Yeah.
And then the ride home, because it's a 40-minute drive. So it makes the ride a little more enjoyable for her. And then sometimes, like when she's in a good mood, they'll mess with her and put on their playlist. And then they'll get to a song that she'll like, one of the songs that they're playing, and she like rips out her phone and she's taking a picture of the screen in the car.
Wow.
So when she comes home, so now when you were talking about live music, so now when she comes home, the minute she gets home, she opens her phone and then she opens her iPad and she writes the name of the song and the artist and YouTubes it to see what they look like and watch them play the song.
Wow.
And that's who my daughter's, the live music. Like, she'll over and watch YouTube videos to death. I think she gave like some guy like 5,000 hits watching him sing a Bob Seger song. And I look at my husband, I'm like, she's in someone's living room right now, watching this guy in his kitchen playing a Bob Seger song, which is one of her all-time favorites, is Bob Seger. And we've taken her to see him a few dozen times at the Garden, at the Jones Beach. And, she just loves music. So music keeps our family moving, pushes us in the right direction. We all go our separate ways on our, songs somewhere. Like, I'm an eclectic music fan. When I play my iPod, like, my uncle will laugh. He'll be like, how do you have Cage the Elephant and the Allman Brothers on the same iPod? And I'm just like, I just love music. I love Cage the Elephant. I love the Black Keys. I love Marcus King. I just love music. So when you ask about what music, I dabble in everything. If you saw my Sirius XM list on my car, you would laugh. I have Outlaw Country next to The Bridge. I have Studio 54 on there for disco, and they just had a channel on, which was Guitar Greats. And that channel was really good. And it had guest DJs on it. And they would bring in a guest DJ who would play all these kinds of songs and bring you back, go backwards in there, what their influences were, and brought you back forward. And that's something I think that I was hoping like Warren or Derek would do. But on that, I have to say, Tedeschi Trucks got a lot of love on that channel. It was only on for 1 month, but who
was the programmer like for this channel?
I don't know who did it. But so what, I was driving home with my daughter and we had it on, and Joyful Noise came on, and it's very churchy and very bubbly. So
I hear it in my head.
Grabbed her phone immediately and took a picture of it. And when she got home, I heard Joyful Noise for like 2 hours that day. But that's what she likes. And, I'm running around the house doing my thing, and she's doing her thing. And she's like singing and clapping to Joyful Noise. And I was like, wow, that's a great new song you got today, because that's a great song,
And then when you go back and listen to the song, like in the future, maybe when she takes a break from it, and then it will have like more meaning to you. You like remember that time when you discovered it, like we were listening to it while you were in the kitchen and you spilled the eggs or whatever, whatever it may be.
And in my car, I have an older car, but it has a jukebox in it. They called it a jukebox at the time, where you could load your CDs into it and it stores it like an iPod. So sometimes when I'm driving in my car, I just hit random on that and just.
That's a good setup. That's a good setup.
Grace Potter, Allman Brothers, like whatever CD I had, and at that time, and I filled it up. There's no more room on it.
How many songs?
I think it has 5,000.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So now my husband's bothering me to get a new car because he's like, something's going to happen to your car now. You got to get a new car. It's a 2010 Acura. It's super fast. I love it. I like to drive fast. Don't tell anyone. But love my car. But now he's like, you got to get a new car. I'm like, where's all my music going to go? And he said that he thinks that if I bring it to the dealer, they'll put it on a flash drive for me or something. Because I don't want to lose all my music. That's on there.
Definitely back up all that stuff. I was more concerned about not getting those 6,000 songs to play on your new car stereo, or you can move the stereo into the new car. I feel like I need to get that needs to be shared with me somehow. Make me a copy of that drive, and also this. I mean, it's more personal, but the Calm Jessica Down playlist. Maybe I need to be calmed down too. I don't share her name, but I'll leave that up to you. But there's who the hell loves music more than you? I can't. I mean, of all the people I've talked to and fans of music of different genres that I've come across in my life, just in talking to you for 35 minutes and 40 seconds or whatever, like I can't say I've met a lot of people who are more passionate about music than you. And music is so powerful, and it makes me think about my sister who survived a brain tumor and surgery and all that, and she's fine and all that, these days for sure. But like, to get through it, I talked to her and she's like, music. Yeah. Like, not a joke at all.
No, and music is great. And what you said about your sister, I have a thing in life. That's why you always have to be kind to everybody, because everybody's broken. Everybody has something that has broken them, happened to them.
In some regard, on some level, in some way, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically.
Yes.
In different amounts and different.
We've all been broken. And music is what we use. Music is what I've used in my avenue to help me through my tough times. I mean, my husband, he's stuck in the 90s with his music. Like, he drives me crazy. I'm like, can you please listen to Alt Nation for 5 minutes? And he's like, nope. He goes right back to his grunge and his.
He's a grunge guy.
He's stuck in that whole who was his favorite band?
Nirvana.
Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great band, but I can't listen to it anymore. Like, I can listen to it on a rotation.
Yeah, once in a while. I feel like for me and you, it's more like almost somewhat nostalgic. Whereas he just loves to listen to, it's his regular daily music. Whereas our daily music is Tedeschi Trucks Band and the Allman Brothers.
I mean, I have Lithium programmed on my Sirius, but you know, I joked to him, I'm like, this is the dead channel. Everybody on here is dead already. They couldn't handle their drugs. Can you pick something else?
You're a blunt, tough New Yorker who tells it how you don't pull.
That's right.
And why should you? I mean, I can gather why that you don't have time for any sort of BS in your life.
There's no nonsense in my life. There's no drama. Anyone who causes me drama, dead to me. We're done. Bye-bye.
I feel like I'm not learning lessons every interview I have in conversations for this podcast, but it seems to be happening, and that's like, or I'm being reminded of something, and that's like a good thing.
Well, just like the Tedeschi Trucks.
Life is short.
Yep. Just like the Tedeschi Trucks line, learning lessons no one gets to choose.
Yeah.
You don't get to choose the lessons you learn. They just happen.
Ain't wasting time no more as
My
well.
favorite
I thought of that before. I think by the end of this podcast interview, we will just be speaking to each other and having the conversation in lyrics. And I'm not even really a big lyrics person. You sound like way more of a lyrics, but I'm more guitar. Like when a song comes out, I don't even know what the words are until I've listened to it like 12 times. I'm like, oh wait, that's kind of deep. I like that.
Well, or when you're singing the wrong lyrics for years and then you read them, you're like, oh man, I had that all wrong. But that's okay. Yeah. It's and what you're saying about the music part of it, which is good, because then that separates the whole, do you understand the meaning of this song? Which I don't really think you need to understand everything everybody writes. The music flows it for you and the words are just there. That's okay.
Right. And that doesn't mean it's not without structure or narrative or intention,
correct.
but it still has universal appeal, but it's still specific enough to make it feel like it's coming from this artist, one artist.
Right. And I always say too,
or
just
band.
because the artist wrote the song that way doesn't mean that your interpretation has to be their way either.
Right.
If they're talking about, everyone's political now. So if they're talking about a song that's political, because Government Mule obviously is very political. So and instead of fighting with it on Facebook, I try to say, can you guys just chill and you listen to it from your point of view about whatever politics you're into, and you listen to it from your point of view and just stop.
Yeah, see,
that's the point.
I agree with that sentiment totally. And I would even maybe express that in person if I saw something like that playing itself out. But
yep.
I don't want to get involved in any of those like things. But I know what you're saying. Like it's you're a very positive person. That's great that you put in the, you're not a keyboard warrior. I can tell that you're someone who lives a genuine life, both online and offline.
I will go at it only for principle. Only for principle.
Well, you're a tough New Yorker too. So
right. I mean, I live in a blue state and I have a child that's getting defunded. It makes me angry. So I try not to be political, but sometimes you're dragged into it. I mean, we have our, it's just too much. Yeah. So we listen to music and we get through it because, every time you turn around, something else is going to change. And again, like we said, I really feel everybody is broken or will be broken somehow. So be kind. I try to diffuse things as best as I can. And even my friends say that what you said about your observation of me, they say that too. You're the peacemaker. You're the one we come to for advice all the time because and my name is Lauri and my family calls me the law. They're like, any disputes goes to the law and she'll tell us how we're fixing this. Yeah. Like, I have a shirt that my brother gave me for Christmas. I fought the law and the law won and won and won. Like you can't fight with me. It doesn't, I'm too, we have a rule in our house. You can't fight with feelings. You have to fight with facts.
Yeah.
You're not, no, I don't care how it made you feel. I want to know the fact. You can't fight with feelings.
You have a system.
We have everything in my house is a system. We're a well-oiled machine. My husband and I are going on 30 years of marriage. You think that's easy? No. Yeah. We figured out how to work it out. We decided what was best for the family and we just do it. He rides his motorcycle. I go to concerts. Sometimes we do it together. I don't go on the motorcycle anymore now that my children were born because I figure someone has to be around for them. Yeah. I don't really like motorcycles. So it was an easy out for me. So that's his thing. He rides his motorcycle. He listens to his grunge music and, we go about our day. And when I'm driving in the car with him and I got to listen to his iPod, I'm like pulling out my hair. I'm like, can you please put something current on your iPod? No, he says, no, I don't want to.
Families are funny.
Right. And it's funny the way that music is going because everyone's like, oh, music is dead. It's dead. And I'm like, not my music. Tedeschi Trucks, look at the music they put out in the past 10 years. Government Mule, Marcus King. There's and then you go to a festival and you discover a whole nother group, like the Revivalists, love them. And they came from, my love of them came from a festival, and then you just follow along with them. And who's the other one?
You keep finding new music, both new bands and older bands through other bands' music, whether it's going to a festival or covers that like Tedeschi Trucks band does. Yeah. You keep just diving further into the music. And when you were talking about like everyone is broken, that means everyone needs to be fixed, right? Like, and that's the word you use the word fixed. Yeah. So if everyone is constantly being broken on some level, like being kind is the antidote to that essentially. Mm-hmm. Is that what it is?
Yes. Well, I think so. And I think the music is the Band-Aid that you put on to help you heal.
Yeah.
Music is a band-aid. You know,
I
you
think,
put it
yeah,
on.
I think it's maybe regular medicine or it's more important than a supplement.
It's funny. I told you I had spent the weekend with my girlfriend that's a doctor. She's, a therapist. And I said, how come you're not allowed to write me a prescription for music therapy? Why can't I be writing off my concerts? And she goes, wouldn't that be a great thing?
Right.
And I said, yeah. I go, you need to get your sign on your door, music, and play an album for someone when you're doing therapy with them and see how they react to it. And she's like, wow, that's a great idea. And I'm like, just put a little music in the background and see how they react to it. See if it calms them.
Art,
You know?
art it can be used to uplift people. Is that what we were,
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
forget
Well,
that. We forget that thing. We think of it as something to be worshipped, I think, almost
yeah,
more than like just something to make us feel better in simple
yes.
terms.
Yeah, always.
What's the next shows? What's coming up? Anything?
Where are we? We're
I don't
in,
know. You're asking
we're,
no, it's
well,
May.
May. Everything keeps getting canceled. I was supposed to,
Ticket lady.
yes, crazy ticket lady. You want me to open my Ticketmaster app? Let me see.
That's up to you.
My Ticketmaster app, because it changes daily.
But that's your main thing is family and concerts. It seems like
Family and
and
concerts.
listening to music.
Spend a lot. Oh, the Struts. That's who I was thinking of before. The Struts. Love the Struts. Have you ever listened to them?
I don't. What? I'm not familiar.
They're really good. They're like a cross between Queen and Aerosmith.
Okay, I like that kind of music. We have kind of the same taste in music, just from all the bands that you say you like. I'm definitely more.
I have Alanis Morissette on my dock, but it's supposed to be.
It's nostalgia. It's not our everyday music.
Yeah. I love Alanis Morissette. My husband took me to see her do that solo show that she did. Where was it? I can't remember, but it was amazing. It was just before the shutdown.
Yeah, she wrote hits, great songs, and
great. Jagged Little Pill is a masterpiece.
Right.
I have Primus on my dock of Tribute to the Kings because they're going to do Rush. They're going to cover Rush, so we're going to see that. That's good. And then I have the Doobie Brothers, Tedeschi Trucks. I have on there, Rage Against the Machine. And I have Lucas Nelson. I'm waiting for all those to be rescheduled.
Yeah, that's fun.
So again, see how eclectic it is? The Struts, Rage Against the Machine, and Tedeschi Trucks.
Right. Yeah.
And I'll be happy at all three.
Yeah. I just want to go to all Tedeschi Trucks all the time, basically.
Wow.
No, I would love to go to. I like all kinds of stuff too, for sure.
So my Tedeschi Trucks, when I get the tickets tomorrow, I'll be for a whole week in July on a Tedeschi Trucks mini tour because I'll be in Connecticut for 2 nights. Then I drive upstate to Syracuse for 3 nights. So I'll have 5 Tedeschi Trucks shows in 1 week.
You're in a good location. Where are you now? Where are you now again?
I'm on Long Island.
Oh, okay.
But I can take the ferry to Connecticut.
Right.
And I can be to Boston in 2 hours.
Right.
I go to every Tedeschi Trucks Orpheum show because they always play the Orpheum in December and it's their last show of the year. So it's
like Susan hometown show kind of thing.
Yes, it's Susan's hometown. That place is a dive. These stages so small that they're all on top of each other, but it's magical.
Yeah.
Magical. Yeah, it's like you got to wear a tank top there because it's so freaking hot in there. You pass out.
Yeah.
Which my girlfriend has passed out there.
We always I feel like we always expect Tedeschi Trucks to be great or outstanding or special even. But then after we experience it, it's like, damn, that was magical. It's like they almost always exceed our own expectations, which are already high or at super fans.
Right.
It's amazing how they keep making you feel so much every time you listen to their music.
Well,
you're like,
and even the Fireside
you've heard a million times too. Yeah.
Right. And the Fireside sessions was just stripped down, raw, and it was magical. every show was different. And even though they repeated songs, they did it a different way.
No doubt.
And
with different lineups.
It was just they made the best of the situation they've been put in, which is what you want everybody to do.
Yes.
Make the best of the situations you're put in. Don't become a victim. Don't cry about it. You know, me with my rules. I have a rule. When something happens, cry your eyes out, dust yourself off, and start picking up the pieces of your broken heart. You know, just pick them up. You got to do it.
How long do I get to cry for?
Well, me, I don't, everybody cries for a different amount of time, but I'm a pretty fast crier. I'm like, okay.
I don't doubt it.
I don't really have too much time to cry. You know, I think my father's passing was probably the worst amount of crying that I've done.
I don't doubt it.
In the past couple of years. Thank you. But, that was probably the longest. And then watching my mother go through so much pain was sad. And now my mother bought a Harley. She moved her house. She bought a Harley. She's riding around Florida. She's got a gun strapped to her hip. She's like, oh, freaking crazy. She's got a new boyfriend.
Get her. Yeah, I got to interview her on one of my maybe my other podcasts.
She's got a boyfriend, and I see them somewhere and I see a picture of him. I'm like, Mom, does he have a government mule shirt on? And she goes, I don't know. I go, Mom, look at the picture. He's wearing a government mule shirt. And then she's like, oh my goodness, he is. He must like the same music like you do. And I'm just like, Mom.
Oh man. I'm learning a lot. Maybe too much. I don't know, but I'm getting a lot of insight, but definitely your family sounds like characters for sure.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yes. We all, what do we say? My mom always used to say to us, you were all a little crazy. You got to keep it tucked in. If I can see you crazy, it's a problem.
Right. And it comes out.
When your crazy's out, it's a problem. Keep your crazy tucked in, you know, and it's what we do. We keep our crazy tucked in and make the best of it. And here we are. And my avenue is music. I love music. My brother and my sister could care less about music.
It's amazing how how that happens in life. Some people,
how do we come?
Is it genetics? Yeah, it's, but they're not just getting the genetics from the parents or whatever. It's they get it from everyone who's come before them. I don't know.
And I remember when I was a little girl, and at the time I had no idea that music was new. My dad was listening to The Doors and Love Her Madly came on, and I was like dancing to it like a crazy kid. And my father's like, look at her go. And I think, and I think back to it. And every time I hear that song, I think of that time I was with my dad and his friends, and I just went crazy when I heard that song. And another really vivid memory is when I went to my uncle's house, and I think Rumors and 2 albums had come out at the same time back to back, and he was peeling the wrapper off of them, and he put Rumors on, and everyone just sat there like, what the hell is this, And then again, and then you take from your parents. And then you go on a little more. Like my mother loved ELO. So I still have ELO on my iPod, and then you just keep progressing with your music. I progress. My husband doesn't. He still listens to grunge.
I progress more slowly. I'm somewhere in between you guys.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good. But you found Tedeschi Trucks, which is great.
Of course.
They're just... I don't know. There's something about Susan's voice that just brings such a calmness to me. Like I just, I was listening to my iPod at the gym today, which I have 3 different iPods for the gyms because, they only hold so much music. So you have this one, that one. And I was listening.
We got to find you a better system. I'm sure there's a better system.
Right. Because I have 3 iPods.
You need to update your system. I'm still using an
iPod, an iPod mini at the gym. And who came on today? And I was reflecting like, my God, Susan. Oh, it was Pat Benatar. And Pat's voice, and I'm thinking like way back, because I was huge Pat Benatar fan when I was younger. Every Crimes of Passion is like a masterpiece. And I'm listening to that and I'm like, wow, her voice and Susan's voices are very similar. Not as in tone, but in the way they can go low, but the way they can carry it out too. And I was like, wow, and the first time I played Tedeschi Trucks for my mom's like, she has a voice like Linda Ronstadt. And I'm like, no, Mom. But Linda Ronstadt was great too. But I was just like trying to connect.
Different interpretation. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
And my mom lives in Florida, so I'm always trying to get to Florida to see a Tedeschi Truck Show in Jacksonville. I want to see them in Jacksonville.
I would love. Yeah, that would be fun.
I've traveled to see them. I went to Red Rocks to see them. I've gone to Boston, Nashville. I saw them at the Ryman. I like to travel.
How many shows? How many Tedeschi Truck shows have you seen?
How many Tedeschi? Well, I'm a Beacon girl, so
they add up fast.
So when they play the Beacon, if they play 10 shows, I go to 8 of them.
Yeah, for the last decade or so. So you got 80 to 100 right there.
And still my husband is rolling his eyes. Okay. And he's like, are you going to cook dinner at all this month? And I'm like, maybe. Yeah. Because again, for me to leave the house takes a lot of scheduling for my daughter. I've got to make sure she has the ride home from school. I got to make sure her tutor's on time that day. If her tutor calls out and I'm on a train to New York City, all hell breaks loose. Then I got to start, pulling out the emergency with the family. Like I tell my son, I'm like, you got to come home. You got to come home and get her. And he's like, okay, Mom. But we all work together. We all mesh and,
You make it work.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen Tedeschi Trucks. I've lost count.
Well, yeah. So I'm guessing you've met Susan and Derek and the band. Over the years,
met them, but impersonally, and it was never the right time. I've never gotten my picture with them.
Yeah,
never. I have my picture with Warren because Warren does his Island Exodus. Did you ever hear about that?
Maybe no. I'm not sure.
Okay. Island does an Island Exodus where every year he plays for a week in Jamaica, and it's really insane.
I bet
the whole resort is just mule fans. It's a lot of fun. I've gone probably, I think they're on number 11 or 12, and I've probably gone 8 times. And it's just a week, of really, it's so great. So great. So I wish Tedeschi Trucks would do something like that. Like Panic does it, Panic at La Playa, they play on
Well, the Beacon, I guess, is that.
Right. They have their residency at the Beacon. Yeah. But I wish they would do like a week like that, a vacation week like that, because that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, the getaway.
So I've met Warren there. And then Derek, I've met, I've bumped into him here and there, like on the, I did ride an elevator with Derek once in Saratoga. But again, he was with a bunch of people. It was inappropriate for me to be a fangirl. So it's just like, have a great show. And then I had front row that night and he kind of waved to me.
That's a nice moment. So Derek, the band, Susan, Mule, what about any of the Allman Brothers? I'm guessing you saw them a lot too. Do they know your story at all or anything about you? Any of these musicians?
I've told it to Warren because again, at Island Exodus, you get a little more time with the artist. So,
right.
And I'm not a fan of intruding on their lives.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Like I was in Saratoga, I was sitting behind Susan. We were sitting back to back in a chair in a lounge in chairs. They were waiting to leave and we were waiting to leave. I was waiting for my husband to get the car and Derek was standing there. And of course it's like 11 o'clock in the morning and people are surrounding him. And I'm just like, really? He's not on the clock. And that's what I think people don't understand. So then I hear Susan's voice behind me and I stick my head over. I'm like, is that you, Susan? And she's like, yeah. And I go, I just want you to know. And I showed her my iWatch. I'm like, I got 22,000 steps dancing at your show last night. And she was like, what? And I showed her, right? And then she was like, what? And then she's like, how do you see your steps? And because she had an iWatch on too. And she's like, how do you see your steps? And she handed me her phone. I'm like, you want me to go through your phone? And she's like, yeah, I want to see my steps from last night. So I scroll to the thing and I show her the circle and where she finds her steps. And I go, oh. And she goes, what? And I go, you got to step it up, girlfriend. You only have like 9,000 steps last night. and I'm laughing, because I was like, and she was like, oh boy, like that. But that's how I just didn't feel like it was appropriate to ask for a picture. They were on their way out. They weren't on duty. And then
they would have given you one for sure. But
the Beacon, though, we used to eat dinner with them a lot because they ate at local restaurants, and we'd be sitting at the table next to Warren and Derek before a show, and they're having dinner. And one time I did actually grab Warren's arm and say, "Can I walk you to work?"
That's funny.
Said, absolutely.
That's funny. That's a good line.
And
that's
I
a good line.
From the restaurant to the Beacon.
You know how to handle yourself, and I think they all know who you are. But they must.
Really?
You've gone to hundreds of shows and had these interactions with them. People,
right? But I don't make them know who I am.
You don't ask for anything. You don't want. No. You don't, yeah.
I don't want anything. What they give me is enough. They do their job. They leave and carry on.
I do. Yeah. I was going to say, and this is obviously totally up to you, but I feel like you should maybe consider telling some of these musicians, if you have the chance, like something about how much, like, I'm sure you have, but like more of the personal things that in your life, or like how much music means to you, because I think that I'm guessing all these musicians would love to hear that. There's a short version you could tell. I'm sure you can. You'll get your little.
I did. When Greg Allman did his book signing in New York City, I did tell him about my daughter and that the music. I told him I named her Jessica, and I saw Dickie at the Beacon like a couple of years ago, and I got to sit with him, and I just like wailed on him. I was just like, you don't even understand how much you mean to me. I told him about the Kyle, how I changed the letters in Blue Sky to make Kyle. I told him, Jessica, how much, the songs.
That's awesome. Yeah. Cause you're really articulate, and it comes across 100% genuine, and they must react well to when,
and he was so happy to hear that. And
right.
Then that year, I think it was the next year, the Allman Betts band went to Jamaica with Government Mule. So I got to spend time with Dwayne, and I told Dwayne the whole story because that's Dwayne's sister is Jessica. So I got to tell him the whole story about it. And he was just like, wow, that's really cool. So I definitely shared my story when it's appropriate to talk. Like
exactly.
We were in the island drinking, pina coladas. So it was the time to talk to Dwayne at that point.
You know how to handle yourself.
Right.
That's just because also partly who you are, and probably your family and your upbringing or something. You learn that. You must have learned that from somewhere, and just all the concert experiences.
Again, you got to keep your crazy tucked in.
That's right.
If you come off like a crazy person, they're just going to go, oh my God. And I'm sure definitely the writing of those songs, the Tedeschi Trucks, there's just some of the things they write. Go ahead and cut me so I can bleed. Just let me have it so I can be free. I mean, come on. Everybody needs that release of all that's built up.
Right.
So,
oh man, it is. We covered a lot. I think we covered. I think we covered it all. You can. This is what I mean. I think when we end the podcast, your life, it's not going to be any different. You're going to be continuing to talk about music. This is not the last conversation you're going to have about music. It's going to come up tonight. There's more music to listen to, I'm sure, or talk about.
And tomorrow morning I'll be trying to get my pre-sale for the Connecticut shows for Tedeschi Trucks. So it's going to be a long, exciting morning. That crazy ticket lady syndrome. As soon as my son wakes up and he sees the setup on the table, he's going to go, oh God, what's going on?
Oh yeah, I remember what I wanted to say. That I want to say that you're not the only person who has a couple of people working computers out there. I think you're okay. But I guess,
well, no, you
you
do
know what I
that, but
mean?
now Ticketmaster though makes you sign in with your phone number now.
Yeah.
They're cutting back on that. And if I try to use my laptop and my iPad, Ticketmaster says no, you're already logged in online somewhere.
Oh man, they're getting good at it.
They do it to you, but they don't do it to the scalpers.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have the ticket solution to all these issues.
They're
I'm just hoping there's tapers. Just have tapers at the show so I
Yeah.
can listen to the shows. That would
Yeah.
be cool. I appreciate that.
Also learned, even of my 3 nights at the Ryman, we sat up in the top one night, we sat way in the back one night, and we had front row one night. We wanted to experience it all.
I'm becoming a little bit more like that too. I'm just kind of like letting the
I don't have to be up front every show. I can't afford it at this point.
That,
But,
that more than anything for
sure.
sure.
I think the Allman Brothers set the stage with that because they were like the first ones to, at the Beacon, they started it. They guarantee you, because the Beacon goes AA through DD and then starts with row A. Right. So they would guarantee you a seat in row AA through DD if you paid $500 for the platinum ticket, for the premium ticket. And so I would always buy 2 platinum tickets throughout the whole run. And I would always buy it on the last show and the first show.
What's 2 steps below platinum? I want to guarantee that. I'd be fine guaranteeing that for myself, maybe.
Wouldn't that be
silver,
great?
The bronze, I want to guarantee the bronze section, which is like,
well,
I don't know, wherever, I don't know.
I know.
But you know what I'm saying.
I know. And now Ticketmaster does this thing where if the volume is high during the ticket sale, now we can change the price. Well, of course it's high on the first day of the sale.
Right. It's like, start high, whatever.
It's ridiculous. And now
they're negotiating with the customers. Like,
you can put Ticketmaster, you can put tickets in your cart at one price. And if you don't check out fast enough, they can change prices because they go platinum.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah.
Lesson learned.
Nobody likes Ticketmaster, and nobody likes their cable provider, I think.
Their internet provider.
Internet provider, yeah. Yeah, no one likes those people are horrible.
Everyone hates Ticketmaster and Live.
Right. I think Ticketmaster even more so.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. Well, because they have phone calls of these people telling them that they're going to maneuver the ticket prices. You know what? If it was a level playing field, I think we would be okay with it. But it's not a level playing field that we're in. We're fighting bots. They have systems set up. These scalpers have systems set up where they have bots, and they're I don't know how they do it.
And there's a high increasing fees and all this stuff. And it's just every more and more things being introduced do not make it for more of a pleasant experience and a more cost effective one. Things are only getting more difficult and more expensive.
Yes.
So that's why people don't like Ticketmaster.
Right. And our band, like Tedeschi Trucks, has to have higher ticket prices because of the size of their band. There's a lot of people on that stage, but I've never left the show and said, I didn't get my money's worth.
Yeah. No one I've interviewed ever said that. They say exactly what you.
Nobody. I leave there feeling, like I said, I'm just off a 3-day mule bender. I call it my mule bender. And I'm so chill right now. Like, if you need to drop bad news, call me today because I can handle it. You got something to say it now. Because by Friday, I'm going to be a lunatic.
Oh boy. Damn. What stories? What a range of topics we covered. A lot for sure. Is there anything that you want to plug or promote other than givebutter.com/TTB? Check Tedeschi Trucks Band fans and Tedeschi Trucks Band family and friends for the latest raffles and auctions.
Right.
Is there anything else besides those?
No. That's be a good person. Just be a good person.
How about that? Plugging people to act well towards each other.
Right. See someone in the supermarket, you're in their way, move your freaking cart, okay?
Wow,
Just
okay.
move
That's what you mean by
your
being a
cart
good person.
out of my way.
That's the funniest thing I've heard. That's
There's
funny the way you
nothing
said
annoys
that.
me more than a sideways cart with a woman bending over. The whole freaking aisle is taken up, and I just want to go boom with my cart.
But you've done it too. You've probably we've
Yeah,
all
of
we've
course.
all
When
we've
I'm
all
doing it,
gotten
it's
in the
up-
way, but
right,
we're wrong. But we're in the wrong,
right.
and we're not
And then-
being polite.
Correct.
I
We
like
all
store.
do.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
need the wide aisles. At the wide so the stores with the wider ails are definitely.
They just put more
Okay.
crap in it though. There's sale things in there that
Yeah.
you got to maneuver around.
We're going on another tangent, but that's all good. But for real, I appreciate the time, the stories, all the personal stuff. You are good at the talking for sure, but you say amazing and inspirational things, and your story is inspirational, and just your disposition and attitude about life is great to see. And it's good for my soul, spirit.
It's good for all of us.
I think to talk to you because you're very energetic,
Mhm.
life affirming, and trying to make the best of everything. And
Always.
I'm gonna try to keep my crazy tucked in.
Yes.
I think my parents have tried to express the same to me over the years in so many words. Maybe it hasn't resonated enough, and I need you to say it in that way. But we're working on it. Every day is a journey.
We have to end this with music matters. It matters.
It does.
It matters.
But for real, thanks again, Lauri Lane.
Thank you.
Let's do it again. We'll talk soon again, I bet.
Yes.
You got it.
Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
So there you go. Episode 55 with Lauri Lane. What fun. She oozes passion for music, and I could listen to her talk about it all day. I really, again, appreciate the time and Lauri sharing her life and stories with me. Ticketmaster may suck, but Lauri and her family sound great, and I also for sure, again, appreciate the work she's done and doing to help raise money for givebutter.com/TTB. Anyway, please go to givebutter.com/TTB to support TTB's crew. And again, to follow all these raffles and auctions, join the Facebook groups Tedeschi Trucks Band Fans or Tedeschi Trucks Band Family and Friends, or both. Anyway, for now, hope everyone is doing okay out there. Please check out Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. That's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. And be sure to subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or however you listen to this episode. Positive reviews on iTunes, Apple Podcasts are also appreciated. At Adam Choid on Instagram and Twitter. TedeschiTrucksBand.com for the band. GiveButter.com/TTB. One more time to support the band and crew. And I think that's about all I got for today. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it for sure, as always. Later.